Welcome in. This is the Fortitude Forum. And you know how we usually do it here with a strong guest from the world of business or from the world of sports. In the past, we've hosted executives with backgrounds in everything from healthcare and marketing and finance. We've also had former Olympians and speakers and coaches like myself, all designed to help you go from frustration to full potential. But today's episode is a little bit different. I wanted to take this opportunity to reveal something that I've not only seen with the high performers that I work with, but it's also something that I've experienced myself as well. Have you ever noticed how good it actually feels when you finally win? You hit a sales goal or you win the big game if you're an athlete, you close the big deal that you've been working on for weeks, that wave that washes over you. Do you know what I'm talking about? But that feeling you're celebrating, it's quietly killing your potential. So today I want to talk about the most dangerous emotion high performers experience. And most people don't even recognize it. And no, I'm not talking about fear and I'm not talking about doubt. But don't get me wrong, if those aren't held in check and dealt with, your results won't even come close to what you want them to be. Now, when you start to feel this emotion after you experience success, it can be the reason that it gets harder to sustain or duplicate that win you just had. So before I reveal this one word that can actually wreck your results, let me share a little story with you. The year was 1999. And for those of you who are tuning in for the first time and don't know my background, I was once a quarterback at Michigan State under Coach Nick Saban. And during the middle of that season, we were undefeated at 5-0 heading into the game with our in-state rivals, the Michigan Wolverines. And in previous seasons, we'd be having success, but when we'd get to a pivotal big game like this, we'd come up short. But this year was different. We went on and defeated our biggest nemesis, who had a quarterback by the name of Tom Brady. And the lesson came not during the game itself, but in the 2 weeks after what was the biggest game of my career to that point and the biggest game of the season, because now we were sitting undefeated at 6-0 and we were ranked number 5 in the entire country. And so over the next 2 weeks, we'd actually go on the road and lose those 2 games. And they weren't even close. Now, years ago, Coach Saban called a guy by the name of Dr. Lonnie Rosen, a sports psychologist who studied human performance and emotional regulation. And Rosen taught Saban something that completely reframed how he saw winning and losing. And he revealed why we had lost those 2 games after getting over such an important hurdle. And that one reason was relief. This stuck with Coach Saban. And if you've ever watched him on the sideline after a win, you've probably noticed something. He didn't look happy. He didn't look relieved. And in fact, he often looked irritated. But why? It's because he understood that the moment you feel relief, you let your guard down, you relax your standards, you ease off the gas. And Rosen taught him that true champions aren't driven by the relief of what just happened, they're focused on what's next. And that's why Saban is famously harder to deal with after a win than after a loss. And as a young player, I never understood why his disposition seemed so backwards. After a loss, he was engaged, he was teaching, he was problem solving. He was even joking with the guys. But after a win, he was on edge because he knew that's when complacency sneaks in, disguised as satisfaction. Relief isn't a bad emotion by itself. It's human. It's our nervous system's way of saying you survived. But the danger is this. Relief tells your brain that the mission is now over. And the moment your brain thinks the mission is over, it stops focusing on the process of what got you there. And it stops producing the intensity that created the win in the first place. Think about it. How often do people tirelessly work to achieve something and then take their foot off the gas right after they do? They train for months to run a marathon, and after they cross the finish line, what happens? They stop running, or they grind to hit a business milestone. And once they hit it, they take a little time off, and the momentum disappears. Success has a gravity to it. If you're not intentional, it'll pull you into comfort. And there's a huge difference between rewarding yourself and relieving yourself. Reward says, I'm proud of what I've done and I'm ready for what's next. But relief says I can finally stop and take a break. And reward fuels momentum, but relief, it wrecks those results. So ask yourself, do you crave success for the fulfillment of growing or just for the relief of being done? Because if your motivation ends the moment you cross the finish line, you're not pursuing mastery, you're chasing comfort. And greatness does not live in relief. It lives in rhythm. It lives in that steady, focused, never satisfied pursuit of becoming the best version of you. I've seen this with executives and entrepreneurs and athletes. They work tirelessly to build something big and amazing. And the second they hit a milestone, they relax. They lose their edge. They stop doing the things that got them there. And one of my favorite questions to ask clients after a big win is simple: are you changing the playbook now? Remember, success is a signal. It tells you it works. It gives you feedback that your process is sound. And then it asks, what's the next play? What I'm talking about is the difference between people who experience success and people who sustain it. So here's my challenge for you today and moving forward. The next time you feel that sense of relief after a win, just pause, recognize it for what it is. And instead of sinking into it, just channel it. Ask yourself, what's next? What's the next rep? What's the next goal? The next level of standard I can hold myself to. Relief is the emotion of people who arrive, but relentless is the mindset of people who are becoming. The best know that they never arrive. They just keep going. So don't let relief rob you of your rhythm. Don't let success soften your standards. That's it for now, but make sure you subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. Stay in the pursuit, stay in the process, and stay relentless.